Michael Bennett returns from his team-decreed suspension, but is he here to stay? He didn't really seem like somebody who was focused this afternoon in the locker room when he talked to reporters. I'm Alex Barth. He's Evan Lazar. This edition of Patriots Press Pass is brought to you by HelloFresh.com, America's #1 meal kit for seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door. Visit HelloFresh.com/CLNS80 and use the code CLNS80 for $80 off your first month. So, the Michael Bennett suspension, Evan.
Yeah.
Maybe I was naive in this, but I thought, and I think a lot of other people thought, this could be, for lack of a better term, a coming to Jesus moment for Michael Bennett, that he's going to get suspended, realize what he needs to do to be here, come back, be a force. Based on how he sounded today in the locker room, not so much the case.
Sounded like a guy that I wouldn't want to say wants to be traded, because he was asked directly, do you want to be traded? And he said, you got to ask them about that. I'm going to leave that up to them, whether they want me or not. It just sounded like a guy that maybe was trying to push their hand a little bit to get out the door.
So there's a classic song by a band called Semisonic called Closing Time.
Yeah.
The chorus goes, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah.
I think Michael Bennett's kind of in that mindset where, he doesn't want to go home.
Semisonic reference, I like it.
There you go. He doesn't know where he wants to be, but he doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, it just seemed like a guy that was still very much frustrated about his suspension, about his current situation. I asked him, are they asking you to do a lot of different things than what you did in Atlanta or Seattle? And Seattle and Philadelphia. Yep. And he just simply said, what do you think? And I said, yes. And he said, well, you just answered your own question. Those types of answers, those types of responses. And listen, I'm not. It's fine that he answered that way. I'm not saying that as some huge negative. It's fine. But I really think that if you go back and you watch it, and we posted some of it on YouTube, and I posted some on my Twitter, it's just every question was met with hostility. It was met with a little bit of just standoffishness and just not willingness to just not really want to be here. Like, he just doesn't seem like a guy that really wants to be here right now. He doesn't like his role. He doesn't like his fit in the scheme. And he doesn't really like Brett Bielema, I don't think, too much either.
And you have to remember when the Patriots traded for him, and this was the thing that didn't make sense to me at the time. He's a good player.
Yeah.
I think they got him for pretty good value, but a big reason he wanted out of Philly, a big reason he was available, is because he wasn't playing. He wasn't playing as much as he wanted to. So to come here and, look, we saw this with Demaryius Thomas last week, right? Bill Belichick talked about it. Bill might have said one thing when they traded for Bennett, and circumstances have changed, and all of a sudden Chase Winovich has been outstanding. Dietrich Wise is playing well, and the snaps just aren't there for him. I'm not saying the Patriots intentionally did this, but they bring in this guy who's upset about playing time, and then they don't play him. This has kind of been coming to a head here. This shouldn't surprise anybody that he's this frustrated.
Well, and also a guy that's outspoken. We're talking about a guy that's not reserved. He
will tell you if he's frustrated.
He's going to tell you how you feel, and we can all see it was written all over his face talking to him today that he's frustrated, that this is reaching a point of a breaking point for the Patriots and Michael Bennett. I really think that they're coming to a point and coming to a head here, despite a lot of his teammates sticking up for him, I think, over the last couple of weeks, saying that he's been a great teammate, he's been a great person to have around the team. I think the Patriots are going to have to make the decision now. Is this moping around Michael Bennett, because that's what he did today in front of his locker. He moped. Is that going to be good for this team in the long haul, or is getting him out of here and just freeing up the cap space and getting whatever compensation they can get back for him, they get back for him? Is that better course of action if he's going to kind of have this type of attitude going forward? I also think that he was a little bit quickly I think he was a little bit annoyed with the media and the fact that all of us have an opinion and have a take on his situation currently. And someone asked him, what happened? And he said, well, it seems like all you guys know already what happened, so why don't you tell me? Is that kind of response. So he was not, he was frustrated. It was obvious that he was frustrated.
Well, let's look at it this way now. The Patriots are going to have to, if everything's going well, which it seems like it is, free up a roster spot for N'Keal Harry in a week. They, again, if things are going well, are going to have to free up a roster spot for Isaiah Wynn here shortly. Is Michael Bennett expendable?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's barely playing, so he's certainly expendable in that role. But I think the biggest thing is that we talked about it last week when he got suspended. What was the scheme situation? What was the reason why he wasn't playing? The biggest difference between the Patriots this season and last season is now they're a base 3-4 team. He's not a base 3-4 end. He's just not big enough. He's not the type of skill set that he has. He's a guy that wants to shoot gaps, get up the field, attack the quarterback, rush the passer. Maybe kicks inside as a defensive tackle on passing downs, but he's not going to play inside on regular base downs. He's not going to play end over the tackle in a 3-4. So there's really no fit for him schematically. And the Patriots have said, listen, we got Jamie Collins, we got Chase Winovich, we got all these linebackers that are playing out of their minds. The boogeymen are, out there haunting everybody. So we're going to run with the linebackers. We're going to roll with what's working with the linebackers. And Michael Bennett is going to be the guy that's going to be phased out of here a little bit. And unless there's a ton of injuries to that linebacker spot, I just don't see how that changes.
Is he active on Sunday?
I think he's active on Sunday, but I really think that this is coming to a head where they're going to have to trade him, because if he's going to come out and talk to us like that, then God only knows what he's saying to the Patriots behind closed doors and what that interaction really was with Brett Bielema. If he's that frustrated and that obviously malcontent at this point, then what he said to Brett Bielema had to have been a lot worse than what he just said to us.
And hold that thought. I want to follow up on both of those real quick.
Yep.
This edition of Patriots Press Pass is brought to you by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Visit HelloFresh.com/CLNS80 and use the code CLNS80 for $80 off your first month. You made 2 points there I want to follow up on really quick before we wrap this up. Can he play on Sunday? I think the better question there, I should have phrased this better, is this salvageable?
Right. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so, because his playing time is not all of a sudden just going to increase overnight. The Patriots certainly aren't going to play him just to make him happy. Right. So those two things just don't seem like they're going away.
If that's the case, he has a high dead cap number. Do they have to trade him in the next couple of days? Or can they wait and then release him?
Well, I think the biggest question the Patriots have to ask themselves is, in the long term, is there a matchup, whether it's the playoffs, whether it's later on in the season against a team like Kansas City or Houston or something like that, where the game plan is going to call for a 4-3 scheme, where the game plan is going to suggest the best way to attack this team, this offense, is to play more of a upfield, shoot the gap type of style defense versus what they're doing right now with the linebackers kind of being those guys that are being aggressive. If they feel like there's going to be a big game on the horizon, I could see them keeping Bennett just in the back pocket for that game.
At least for the regular season, is there?
I don't think so. I mean, really, the teams that you look at that you would want to do something like that against, there's like a Rams, for example, in the Super Bowl last year.
Right.
The Patriots lined 6 guys across the line of scrimmage, and that was really how they stopped the Rams' rushing attack. There's not really a team that they face that's quite like that. So I don't really know if there is right away, but you never know when the matchups, what the playoffs are going to present themselves, and if they are going to play a team like, I don't know, Kyle Shanahan's 49ers in the Super Bowl, maybe that team is a little bit more apt to playing a 4-3 than a 3-4.
And then finally, let's say, so you say it's not salvageable. I would agree. They have to move on from him. I think just cap-wise, they can't cut him. Right. They have to trade. It would be a lot of money to swallow. What's his value? What's a team that could be a fit? You got to look for a contender that needs a pass rusher. Oakland, maybe?
That feels like they can get the best out of Michael Bennett and put this situation behind him. I really think that the compensation for the Patriots, if I was the Pats, I'd be looking to break even on the trade with Philly. Just get back a day 3 pick for Michael Bennett and just break even in that situation. I really don't see a situation where they're going to get more than like a 5th round pick out of Michael Bennett, because that was his value back in offseason when they made the trade with Philly, was that 5th round pick. Now they have another year on the contract where they gave him a little bit of a pay bump, actually. So there's a little bit more money on this deal than there was beforehand. So I don't see this being a situation where they're going to get much back.
All right, we will see. Let us know your thoughts. Is the Michael Bennett situation salvageable? Will he make an impact for the Patriots at some point this season? This edition of Patriots Press Pass is brought to you by HelloFresh.com. Visit HelloFresh.com/CLNS80 and use the code CLNS80 for $80 off your first month. With Evan Lazar, I'm Alex Barth from Gillette Stadium. Thanks for watching.